think for anyone who's spent even a little bit of time in the fitness space can agree with me that things are changing quickly. More men now more than ever not just worrying about how much muscle they carry or just focusing on how lean they can get. We've got more men now who constantly are challenging themselves in like multi-discipline events like a High Rocks, for example, where half of it is, or the majority of it is, a conditioning based activity, but then you do have some strength aspects in it. Or even coming across the terms hybrid training, and again just thinking like, what is this? Like, I've grew up playing football for my whole life, and then when I got to about 18 years old, I see my mate went to the army and he came back, and I remember just seeing how big he was, and I was like, I want to look like that, and thinking, well, I need to start getting in the gym, getting stronger, and actually lifting some weight and adding muscle on. And I was doing both at the same time, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought this is just general fitness. But with the emergence of High Rocks and even the term hybrid training, it's became a little bit sexy now. And I think more people now more than ever are starting to understand that there's more to this fitness space than just being good at one thing, or just being lean, or just having muscle, or just being a runner. People also want to perform well, which obviously raises a new set of problems. And I think this is something that we need to talk about to educate people in how to evolve as a fitness space evolves. Because believe me when I tell you, this High Rock stuff and hybrid training isn't going anywhere, and I've even caught the bug for it. The only issue is it's now became oversaturated. Not in terms of how many people are doing it. It's amazing to see how many people are pushing themselves, not just with strength aspects, but conditioning aspects, and bringing them together. But it's became oversaturated in terms of how many people are saying different things and conflicting things of how to actually be good at hybrid training, and then also to compete in things like High Rocks. Like, people will have different aspects and perspectives on training programs, on fueling and recovery, and you get the rest. So what I've decided to do, because I'm such a good person, is over these next 5 videos, I'm going to try and silence some of that noise and cut out things that are actually BS from my experience, from what I've seen, and also tell you the things that you should keep in and you should put a bit more focus on. But before we get into all the interesting stuff, we should probably get all the boring stuff out the way first, the unsexy stuff. But it's important we get this out the way now in order to put some solid foundations for us to build on. So before we address all the training systems or the training phases and find out ways to progress in this game, we need to first draw a line in the sand. Now, this is something I done in early 2024, probably about 6 or 7 weeks after Aaliyah was born. Now, I just came from losing 20k and being in unbelievable shape, or what I think was anyway. But while doing this prep, my wife got pregnant, and I could already start to sense that even in the last third of my prep, that this isn't something that I'm going to be able to maintain, not just long term, but especially when the baby comes. I knew that it wasn't going to be a realistic lifestyle with a newborn, but I remember telling myself like, oh, I'm not going to drop off too much, like what's the worst that's going to happen? And oh boy, was I wrong. I remember I reversed out that diet terribly. I had a coach at the time who gave me a game plan on what to do, and just mentally I just wasn't in the right headspace, obviously just having a newborn. I reversed out that diet terribly. I put all that weight that I lost straight back on. I stopped training with the right intensity and frequency, and just lost a bit of enjoyment for actually getting myself in the gym. But the issue is I still saw myself as the same person I was before the baby came. I still saw myself 20 kg lighter. I still saw myself in photo shoot shape. And the reality, the sad reality, was that was not where I was anymore. I'll sit here and wait for the boohoos. And I remember hearing a lot of people talking about identity at the time and being like, that's like a bit of a taboo subject, or something that is a bit woo-woo. I remember thinking like, I mean, who knows me more than me? I pick what I am, I pick my identity. But what I didn't think about is what happens when something outside of you occurs that makes you have to force a change in who you perceive that you are. That this external source now actually changes your identity even without your permission. And I remember being in this weird headspace for about 9 to 12 months, feeling like I still have this perception of who I am because of all the hard work I put in. And I remember thinking, I've got to find a way out here. I've got to find a way to not fight reality, and I had to rebuild that reality with this new version of myself now. So I remember I changed everything. I changed how I viewed myself. I changed what I thought of myself. I changed where I am now and what expectations I should have of myself as a family man, as an athlete. And I made sure everything in my life now realigned with this newfound version and identity I had of myself. And now I feel like I'm at a place where all of these things are finally aligned. I'm aligned with training how I want. I'm aligned with fueling how I want. I'm aligned in how I feel, what I can expect for myself, how much I can actually give as an output with all of the things that I've got now that were different to a year ago. And I remember scrambling and being like, I've got to put all of this stuff down. Like, if I feel like this, I guarantee other lads out there are feeling the exact same. So I created what I called the Identity Vault. It's a little hub that I've created where I keep everything that has to do with me. So who I was before, what I am now, and who I want to become in the future. And what this Identity Vault does is it acts as a bridge to bridge that gap between who I was, all the ideas I've got of myself of past successes, past things that I've done well, and then who I am now, and bridging that gap and being like, well, this is my reality now. And then also looking ahead into the future and being like, okay, well, who do I want to be in the future? Because also there's an expectation again there to be back to where you were and even surpass it with more experience, more time, more knowledge. So this Identity Vault is my attempt to bridge that gap. And I thought the idea of ever getting to that person I want to be in the future, and then something happening again, another external event happening that makes me change my identity again, and me not having the tools to cope with it, or knowing that other lads out there are in the same position, that thought absolutely petrified me, and it made me take some action and actually put a system in place that I can use. So part one is going to be me helping you create yours, because let me tell you from my own personal experience, the view that you've got of yourself will single-handedly be the biggest factor determining whether you hit your goal or whether you don't. So what you're going to do after this video, wait till the end of the video, going to take 20 or 30 minutes when you have some peace and you have some quiet and you have some mental clarity, and you're going to write down everything you want out of life, out of your physique, out of your personal life, out of your relationships, financially, everything. Write everything down that you want. And the trick here isn't just to write this down as fluff, but write it down as past tense. Write it down as if you've actually got these things, that you're actually living that life that you want. And for the next 21 days, you're going to repeat these statements back to yourself. You're going to memorize them. You're going to internalize them. It's going to start to become your internal voice. And you're going to do this first thing every morning. And I know it'll feel a bit woo-woo and a bit mythical. And again, like I said, like a taboo subject. But come back to me in 21 days if you actually try this, and if nothing changes internally after 21 days, you got my permission to stop. But until then, try this, because there's actual comprehensive studies that have gone into this kind of stuff. And to kind of summarize them, they basically say that what you think you are will become your reality. So if you speak about these things in past tense, as if they're either happening right now or they have already happened, then believe me, it's only going to be a matter of time before they actually come into reality. So from now on, I don't want to hear any more statements of, I can't get abs, I'm not a good runner, I can't ever get lean, I'll always be the fat one in the group. Because these statements are the reasons that you've been stuck exactly where you are for longer than you actually needed to be. It's time to break down some of those limiting beliefs, and you'll actually be mind blown. As I said, do it for 21 days. If nothing works, then come back to me, but you'll be blown with the amount of progress you make internally, and then this stuff will start to translate to your outside world. Now in episode 2, we're going to take the first actual step, talking about all things environments and habits, and how you can create an ecosystem and an environment around you to again help you with this new identity that you now have. I'll see you there.